Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I will be making 3 rounds. Pelham Bay Park, Pelham Bartow Mansion, and Split Rock. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and tell a friend. I think one of the most intriguing things about Pelham Bay Park is its mysteries, it's myths. They have been known to be busted throughout the years, but one of the things that always grabbed me when I came to this park was you can see a big red wall, and I never knew the essence or the origin of that, and that is because that is actually marking 2 property lines. There were other houses and estates on this area of Pelham. The other thing that intrigued me was that I always thought that there was an Indian cemetery in Pelham Bay Park. It is said that that was the stadium, and where I'm at right now, which is the woods, is where the seats were. And at one point, it was even close to what we now know as Indian Prayer Rock, even though that's not the official name. But I always thought that this was some sort of cemetery for Native Americans. Kind of look like Split Rock. Because if you look, I mean, a lot of these stones and things were placed to mark graves at the time when we didn't have the orthodox headstones we have today. So I always thought this was an Indian burial ground, which there was plenty of Indian activity in this area in the times predating Christopher Columbus. I tell you, right now this is the best time to explore, that the trees don't got its vegetation, its leaves and stuff. You can actually see, because it would be very difficult to maneuver around here. So yeah, so I'm looking for signs of something that was here before this foliage grew. One of the things that I pay really close attention to is these rocks that looks like they predate everything. These little etches and these little carvings. I don't know if you can see, you know. I'm not excluding the fact that it could have been tribal writings at one point, but as you can see here, it's like it has like this etch. And of course, the rain and wind and erosion would eventually erase all signs, but they're still there. I cannot outrule the fact that these might have been Indian writings. Yeah, these are things that I really take into consideration, and really do believe that the writings and the graffitis of the Native Americans still linger among us, but we ignore them every day. Now, I'm not saying this is one, but I'm just saying that it's a big possibility that these things were made way before me and you even existed. Find what looks like an old jug handle, and upon inspection, it looks like it might have been machine produced, just by this flawless line here. So it rules out evidence that this came from Native Americans. Cannot believe this. April 1976, 1906. I mean, what is this? This cannot be a cemetery. February 9. And there's a little etching here. No. Damn. $1901. This is clearly not humans. It could be either pets or, being that we're next to the horse stable, this can be the place of horse stables or probably even dogs. But I came in here looking for unmarked Indian graves, and what I find is graves of animals, pets, that had obviously a lot of love. I can't help but think, is that really a horse gravesite, or is it slaves that were just ignored or maybe treated like animals? Or how about if nobody even wanted to acknowledge that that was a African burial ground in the event that they might lose some access to the property? Pelham Mansion, the Pelham Yard, and I'll let you guys comment, what do you think that house was used for? Who occupied that house? Here we have a great replica of how the Lenape Indians used to live, among others. You can see this is straight made out of wood, bark. There's not one nail, one screw. You can see the bed made out of bark. It has like this little exhaust slip away for the smoke. And it is colder in here than it is outside. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here for the legacy of this tree right here. Surrounded by this fence, which is about 100 years old, is an offspring, the tree of the peace treaty. This is an offspring, allegedly, of the peace treaty tree of Thomas Pell, when he and other warring natives sat by a tree to avoid any more folks being terminated because of this war that was going on between land and man. Now, for a little while now, we was under the notion that this was the actual peace treaty tree. As you can see here, like, these are very, very old. And you can tell just by the designs and the way the base is. Yeah. Yeah, this is very old. Like, when was the last time you seen something like this? Just the way they, this one even broke, etc., etc. But for a long time, we thought that this was the actual peace treaty, and something is going on here, that the tree is actually falling, and it actually looks dead compared to all these other trees full of life. This one here stands falling apart. It's actually a sad thing that so much effort was put into rescuing the offspring of the treaty, of the peace treaty tree. As you can see, the Pelham mansion, which is how we get the name Pelham Bay, actually had somewhere about 80,000 acres, of which make up this part of the Bronx, the Pelham area, New Rochelle, Yonkers, Connecticut, going all the way up, almost hitting Massachusetts. So, use your imagination. How much land did the Dutch think they brought from the Indians that led to wars and countless families and tribes being obliterated because of it? Right across we have the Split Rock golf course, and as you can see, this is being renovated. This being Dutch. Look at the structures, look at the nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it looks like Indian arrows. Like, you gotta look at things like this, because structures, they do speak with you. They talk directly to you. And as you can see, they're shaped like arrows. Now, is it a taunt that they defeated the Indians? Who knows? It's crazy how Thomas Pell was mostly known for his wars with the Indians. And you can see the top of these resembling Indian spears and Indian arrows. And supposedly, here we have the infamous Split Rock, which it was infamous for harboring one of Anne Hutchinson's family member while family was getting slaughtered, which eventually led to her capture and being taken in by the Native Americans of the time. As you can see, there's a plaque that's been removed. That's probably because there are folks up north in Boston, Massachusetts, that claim the legend and claim that Split Rock is over there. But the Hutchinson Expressway, or Parkway rather, was named after Anne Hutchinson, supposedly on an event that happened here in 1643. Whether the lore is true or false, it has been proven that In the building of the parkway, they wanted to get rid of the rock, and the preservation committee stopped them because of the historical significance of this rock. Split rock. By the way, the location of this is where the Hutchinson Parkway and I-95 Cross Bronx Expressway meet.
Although I did not want to get too much in depth with the history stuff, but I did ride away with more questions than I do have answers. Until next time, peace. Classen Point, Harding Park, a small unique community in the southeastern section of the Bronx, lays at the foot of the Long Island Sound. It has a history deep-rooted in amusement parks, pools, beach clubs, casinos, and summer villas, all of which are non-existent today. I once read an article about a Ferris wheel accident that killed 7 and injured dozens in 1922 at Classen Point Park, and decided an attempt to find the exact location of that unfortunate accident. Preliminary online finds gave me a lead with a newspaper article, some photos, and 3 postcards. Before going into my finds, it is important to know that architects like painters, sculptors, graffiti artists, or any other pioneer of structural designs respect the works of those before them and might leave hints of past designs out of respect to the pioneers. So with that being said, the strongest clues of my find come from postcards. They hinted that I was in the correct location as I proceeded my search. The first clue is the teasing hints of a gazebo-style foyer of the former park's entrance at the east and west trailhead of today's Shore Haven condominiums. It is where I begin my search. The second clue is the old ferry port area that was in operation from 1921 to 1939. It can be seen in the background in a photo of the Ferris wheel's wreckage. Nothing but a gated lot exists of this ferry port, but it is spewing with clues that predates 100 years, such as tracks left behind by the trolleys of yesterday, and old bungalow foundations that are engulfed in shrubs, except for an erected shack that has defeated the test of time. The third clue is in this painting. It shows an old inn that no longer exists today, but carried too many clues to ignore. It made me dig deeper into the history of the area, and this is what I came up with. In 1643, a European settler by the name of Thomas Cornell brought 2,000 acres of farmland from Native Americans. A Dutch official named Willem Kieft governed land and land ownership by taxing Native Americans and ravishing their villages when they couldn't afford to pay. Constant tribal revolts ensued until Thomas Cornell's farmhouse was partially destroyed by fire as he and his cattle were driven away by warring natives. From a settler's farmhouse to a resort inn and now the Shore Haven's Homeowner Association's clubhouse, this location is pivotal to my investigation. 77 years after Cornell's exile, Isaac Classen purchased 1,000 acres of Cornell's land in 1720. Fast forwarding into the 1800s, tent and bungalow communities sprang up on Classen's Point. Casinos, boathouses, boat areas, and amusement parks made the area the epicenter of entertainment in the early 1900s. The final clues come from the river itself. The eroding skeletons of what were once docks told the most important stories. Images of the bungalows that once edged over the rivers became apparent. Previous photos I've studied began connecting the pieces in my mind. A newspaper article mentions that the Ferris wheel toppled 10 feet down onto the East River due to sudden windstorms. And here I am, standing at the center of a 100-year-old photo image. Now all I had to do was find something besides rotting dock that predates 100 years. And then it happened. I looked down over into the beach's low tide and noticed clay antique bricks that took up about 20 square feet of beach bed. I climbed onto the beach and took down the information regarding the prints on the brick, and to my satisfaction, they are from the 1920s. I have just found signs of 1920 activities, and I am now standing in the exact location of the Classen Point Ferris wheel accident. There are no plaques, no murals, no notes of recognition for those killed on the horrible day of June 11th, 1922. Two of the postcards have the same roller coaster in its vicinity. This is the best clue on identifying the position of the amusement park and the position of the swimming pool, known as the Inkwell. Its water came directly from the East River and was considered the world's first saltwater swimming pool.
If you're one of the few that stuck around for the entire video, then this bonus feature is for you. When I started this video, I first showed you guys how there was a ferry port here. We have the new ferry right now over there, but this is the old one. This ferry was here from 1921 to 1939, and it was in use before the White Stone Bridge and the Drosneck Bridge was even up. They only stopped using this ferry over here when the bridge went up. I showed you a bunch of clues. So now you can see this trail that I'm on. The tides is up, and according to that day, on June 11th, 1922, this big dark cloud with massive winds came swooping down, something like this. And in this area right here, over here and into the East River, killing 7 and injuring dozens, both from the Ferris wheel and in the water. I showed you one of the hints of the Ferris that came out through there. The ferry, I mean. Condominiums, luxury living for the upper middle class. These winds are very violent right now. It is cold. You can see the new ferry in operation. I would say, from where I found the clue to the original ferry, which stops right at these ports here, I would say almost about 100 yards. 100 yards out is where the accident and the toppling down happened. I could almost imagine that winds were just as strong as they are now. I was here a couple of days ago, and I was able to climb down into the beach and examine some of the wreckage, some old bricks, and made my investigation complete. Right now we have paths, we have places to relax, but there's no mention, no note, no notability of what happened on that day on June 11th, 1922. The Ferris wheel accident of Classen Point. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have a really good one for you. We are looking for burial grounds that are among our New York City parks. So the first stop, we're going to Cortlandt Park. And I am now heading toward the Meshulah Parkway, which connects Botanical Garden to Cortlandt Park.
The original research and groundwork for today's find has been laid out by Nick Dembowski and the Kingsbridge Historical Society. This find starts with the construction of the Cortlandt Park's portion of the old Putnam Railroad, where workers who were excavating land for the railroad company came across bones of human remains in the 1870s. Upon completion, the old Putnam line made about 60 stops from Manhattan to Brewster, New York. 1958 would be the last time someone stood under his canopy, and 1980 would be the last time a freight train was on its tracks. I always say how the structures and buildings always talk to you and reveal something about it. In this case, we're gonna follow what this round wheel will lead us to. Tucked away in a secluded yet serene part of the park lays a millstone from a grist mill that was built on or around the property in the 1700s. The lake was constructed to power the mill, and according to census and other records, an enslaved worker named Piero, along with his wife Hesser and son Pieter, worked the mill. Today the lake is named in their honor. Grist mills grinded wheat and corn and turned them into flour or cornmeal. Kernels of wheat or corn were fed into the hopper, where it made its way into the center of two stones. These millstones were meticulously calibrated to dictate the quality and texture of the flour or cornmeal. The stone itself was most likely imported from Europe, but the etches on it were carved by skilled enslaved workers. The cultivation and processing of wheat was so pivotal to colonial New Amsterdam that a mill was displayed on the New York City flag. 2 beavers and 2 barrels are also displayed between the mill's blades. The beavers representing the highly lucrative fur trade that quickly dwindled, and the rescuing milling trade is represented by the mill. Trees play a large role in cemetery and burial ground settings. They are usually associated with spiritual and personal meanings. Some of the most common trees associated with cemeteries are the cypress and the yew for its resilience and ability to remain green all year round. Clusters of different species and varieties of trees, both foreign and domestic, should give hints of a burial ground on premises or nearby, even if no headstones or signs are visible. At the end of the parade grounds, just a few yards north of the Tippett's gravesite, stands a very old black locust tree. The bark, seeds, and leaves of this tree is poisonous to humans, livestock, and small animals if ingested. The tree might have been planted to ward off animals that eat, dig, or create burrows on graveyard property.
I knew about it until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they know. I came out here one time and I asked a question about it. They brought me and showed me where it was at. And this is not it.
Huh?
This is not it. They showed me further down. It's a pathway.
Further down?
You know where those things that are
The stones?
stones?
Yeah.
But maybe somebody started making noise and really made some noise. Because people still don't know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got signs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, you might not know it, but this is it. This was a plantation,
Yes.
and this is where they buried the people. Now you should see the spot. You should see the spot where they are buried. They got up on the hill up there. I mean, it's big difference.
He's absolutely correct. I was here yesterday and found what looked like unmarked headstones hidden under leaves, brush, and fallen branches adjacent to the lake, but at eye's distance from the stones. At the moment, I could only speculate that the symmetrical cut of the stones were made at the time of the construction of the lake. Enslaved workers dammed, excavated, cleared marshes, and shaped the stones that were placed along its banks. It is highly possible that many enslaved workers succumbed to diseases of various outbreaks of the time. Smallpox, yellow fever, typhoid, and the Black Plague could have played a big role in the decimation of the Van Cortlandt enslaved population in a duration of over 100 years. Ground radar has been conducted in the area and has been confirmed that there is in fact remains of an enslaved population. Memorial Grove is adjacent to Broadway, formerly known as Albany Post Road. It honors veterans with trees and headstones and a barrage of American flags, even though there aren't any remains of any soldiers there.
What's goody in the hoodie? I'm at the Get Got spot on my way to City Island. We got rain on the forecast. We just trying to get it in real quick. Let's boogie. Before we begin, subscribe, like, and notify. Well, as we here trying to catch the last bit of summer we have left, trying to enjoy the little bit of summer we have left, things are getting a little easier. The sun is off our backs, the humidity is getting its way, and fall is coming through. City Island is an interesting place as it's 5 miles long and only about 2 to 3 short blocks wide. The island was purchased in 1654 from Indians. From 1895 to 1898, a big transition went on in New York City as the Bronx, Pelham Bay, and City Island has become members of New York City. If I know her well, she's somewhere taking a peek. What am I supposed to be? City Island is just one of those spots where people come to celebrate birthdays, baptisms, graduations, weddings, etc. It is a place of family,
fun. This here is called success. How he goes from Sammy's fish box to Sammy's shrimp box and more. Starts from one restaurant and ends up owning a quarter of the strip. Listen, it's almost damn near impossible to be in the Bronx and not come across any music that's going to infringe any copyright privileges you might have on YouTube. Got my man, tell me your name.
Joey, you already know from Bronx River, 174.
You already know Joey. And Joey, tell me, how essential is City Island to Bronx natives on a scale of 0 to 10?
It's got to be a 10 because it's the only place we could go get some seafood, be by the water. Where we gonna do that at? Can't do that nowhere in the Bronx. There's no way. We've been coming here for years, yo, since little. Even when I was a child, my dad was coming in. My moms, my uncles, imagine, they still out here. We go to Seafood City, but we used to go back to Tony's Piers back in the days.
So what's the difference between Seafood City and Tony's Piers, like an environment?
Well, it's more family oriented over there. They got games, I bring my kids here. Over there, they ain't got no more games like they used to, and Tony's and Johnny's.
Got you.
Totally different, and not only that, the drinks is incredible. The drinks, they got blazing. Word up.
So what we have here is a 2003 Harley Davidson vrod, the Screaming Eagle edition. It is the 100-year anniversary of the birth of Harley Davidson. And this is what Harley blesses the public with. City Island is that one place where you do not want problems because there's one bridge in and one bridge out. The only one way in and one way out that you got. You have no dice in City Island. But moving right along. City Island aligns itself with Pelham Bay Park, Orchard Beach, and a little bit further up is New Rochelle, which is where I am now. This is interesting because in a town of oyster fishing, the seagulls have made their mark. They take the oysters, drag it to the top of this parking garage area, let the seashells go so that they can drop, bust open so that they can be able to eat. But my thing is, are there any pearls here? I mean, there's so many seashells, so many oysters here, that I think I'll just take a little extra time just to comb through some of these things. for stopping by and checking out my video. Things are improving. I'm getting a little better with this editing thing. Don't worry, I got you. Peace. It is just the inside of the beef patty in a cocoa bread. Get it? There is only one reason why I'm withstanding the traffic of New York City today, and that is because I am taking a trip across town to get my hands on the best chicken patties ever made. So as I head over to Gun Hill Road, I can't help but think of the story that I was once told by a school teacher on how Gun Hill Road got its name. Gun Hill Road got its name from a famous battle in colonial times in 1777, where a cannon was dragged to the top of a hill to fend off the British at the height of the Revolutionary War. The actual location of that hill is now currently Woodlawn Cemetery. But enough of that. We are here today because I am going to sink my teeth into the best tasting beef patties on the planet. And in order to do so, I must make this pilgrimage to this section of the Bronx. The first thing that I noticed right off the back as soon as I walked in is the smell. The smell of freshness, the different kinds of exotic breads right at your fingertips. And that's not to mention the distinct smell of the different spices that creates this greatness. All right, let me get a meatloaf and a beef patty with cocoa bread. With no time to waste, I must get to the nearest park bench, or the nearest private area where I can get you and enjoy this and share it with you guys. So, we are here today to get my expert analysis, since I am a foodie, on what it is to have the best beef patty sandwiches in New York. And not only that, we have, supposedly, I just got put onto this, is what they call a meatloaf, which is the filling of the beef patty, but it has its own cocoa bread, but it's embedded in the cocoa bread. So it has absolutely no flakes whatsoever. It is just the inside of the beef patty in a cocoa bread. Get it? Oh my God. I mean, if you could just feel how soft this bread is. Oh. Woo. Let's see how this breaks up here. You can see how that is. The bread is so soft and the meat is so fresh, and you can tell that they made their own. They didn't like order it from somewhere. This is like you could say homemade, but shop made. Man, the smell is delicious. I mean, it's a combination of cocoa bread and a combination of spicy beef patty, which I see a little bit of spices in it. I'm one that's not too spicy friendly when it comes to my stomach, but we'll see exactly how spicy friendly the beef patty meatloaf is. I tell you guys, this patty is amazing. This meatloaf, I mean, you cannot go wrong. You have the inside meat of the beef patty. If you're not too fond of the flakes, you know, which I think the best beef patties are the flakiest, but that's my opinion. But yeah, this is soft and this is awesome. And I'm taking it down with good old cola. But usually they take it down with something involving ginger, but I'm not too crazy about ginger, so I guess we're gonna have to go with sweet right now. But moving right along, this is that cocoa bread. Oh my God, look how fluffy, look how soft it is. I mean, if you guys can just smell it, touch it, oh my God, it does like more than enough to spike up all your 5 senses. So here we go. So this is the whole concept of it. You're supposed to take it down like this. All right. Oh my God, you could almost feel the warmness, and it's been a little while. It's kind of like a hot pocket. It was born hot. But yeah, we're gonna take this down and I'm gonna give you the review on that. As far as the meatloaf goes, it was great. The only thing was a little spicy, but the spicy is good. It doesn't linger around. It's only while you're eating it. And I feel great for somebody who suffers from heartburn and all kind of old man problems. Oh my God, this is everything you would think it is. I mean, it has the spice. The spice is the same. The taste is the same as obviously the meatloaf, because all they did was take out the filling from the beef patty and just put it directly into the cocoa bread, which is brilliant. And it is tasty as hell. But now we're going flaky, and flaky is good because the flakes, the combination of the flakes and the cocoa bread balances out the spiciness, and it doesn't seem spicy at all. Oh man, not bad at all. And the cost is even better, man. One of them costs $4, the other one costs $5. I don't know which one is which, but oh my God, is it amazing. Whew. Just the doughiness of the cocoa bread and the spiciness of the meat. Oh, it just makes it all it is, man. This is truly a great experience. In 226 White Plains Road in the Bronx. Oh my God, was that a meal and a half. But let me tell you something. Due to today's food prices and everything going sky high, sometimes you'll appreciate something that's well under $5. And this is one of them places where you can actually eat for $5 or less. I mean, even their abundance of bread that they had, everything smelled so fresh, everything was so good. Listen, this is not a paid advertisement. This is really not. But this is somebody that really appreciates a good meal, $5 or less, because that is very hard to get in today's economy. That's all I'm saying. So this rapper slash content creator by the name of China Mac at China Mac Eats TV gave his opinion on what he thought the state of New York pizza was at the moment. The purpose of this video is to debunk that notion, because we are and forever have been the shit when it comes to pizza. I was first introduced to Nick's Pizza in 2003 when my friend Frank Nitty used to come across town just for the special pizza. And you would think Gun Hill Road would be the last place that you would find great pizza, as the area is dominated by West Indians and Jamaicans. We're talking a very flavorful sausage shaven over a pizza and toppled with extra cheese. How to hold the New York pizza. Fold the plate in half. Fold the plate in half. You slide the pizza halfway. You fold it again, and you put the napkin under it. Peel. Woo. Oh my God, I'm stuffed. One down, two to go. I gotta see how I'm gonna pull this off in one shot. Man, that was one tasty ass pizza. I really underestimated the size of it. I really want to go home and go to sleep. But nevertheless, let's take on this challenge. Let's see what's next. This next one is currently called Mario's, but everybody knows it by Simpson Pizza Place. It's right in the heart of the communities of some of the oldest Bronxianites around. Every pizza shop does what they can to try to stand out from the rest because the competition is thick. But there's always one that brings the customers, and to me, it's just bacon, chicken ranch. Nick has some competition with this one. Oh my God. So I'm in Westchester Square, which is more like a metropolitan area, more than it is a residential area. There are more people that walk through here, through the thousands throughout the day. But one thing is undeniable. It's that little hole-in-the-wall spot called Lubo's Pizza. Even though the place is small, it packs an extremely large pizza. One slice will have to be taken home in a cardboard box. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the nuke of all nukes. And there you have it. 3 kick-ass pizzas from 3 kick-ass old-school style pizzerias. Now, if you notice, what's the secret to their success? Well, it's right close directly to the train station. If you notice, in all 3 shots, they was directly in eyes distance of a train station. So I guess location, location, location is everything. Big shout out to China Mac and China Mac Eats. As always, thank you for watching the video. Until next time, peace.